You are listening to the Voice of the Arts, WQED-FM. I'm Jim Cunningham, and it is a joy to have with us Johnny Gandelsman, violinist, and Ebun Oguntola, composer and violinist and conductor, and much more. You both are so multifaceted. It's absolutely wonderful. Musicians of the highest order. Can't wait for This Is America, which Chamber Music Pittsburgh will present beginning at noon on the 7th of February and continuing. It'll be available through the 14th of February. I wish we could do it in person, but to keep everybody safe, it will be available online, which is the next best thing and still really great because the program is going to be very wide ranging. Johnny, tell me about your This Is America concert. How did it happen?
Sure, Tim. Nice to talk to you. Thank you for having us. Well, this is America is a project that I thought of sort of at the height of the pandemic in mid 2020, when we were all sort of in lockdown and all the travel and all the performances halted, and that year was such a volatile time for the country. Was of course the pandemic, COVID, and the election, and all the natural disasters that were happening, and the killing of George Floyd, and it just seemed like everything was, there was a lot of tension, and people were experiencing things very deeply. And I was trying to think of, what can I do? I mean, I'm just a guy with a violin, right? And I thought that it would be maybe interesting to just try and find a way to document the moment in time. And so I, with the help of about 20 commissioning partners around the country, I was able to commission over 20 composers from all over the country to write solo works for violin. And I asked the composers two simple things. One, that the piece would be not a very long one, somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. And then, but the main thing was I asked the composers to just reflect on that moment in time of, when they were writing it. So 2020 and I guess 2021 as the composers were thinking about their works and starting to work on them. So it's a pretty incredible collection of music. I mean, I didn't really know what I was going to get, but I did want to find a way to represent just the vast variety of voices that are present in this country and that are creating beautiful, thoughtful music. And Ebun is one of those people. And I'm so lucky that I was introduced to Ebun and her music through the Luna Lab, which is a program for young composers, which she can tell you more about. And she wrote a gorgeous piece for violin called Reflections, and it was commissioned by Chamber Music Pittsburgh. And so this concert, virtual concert, we'll see the piece Reflections will see its world premiere.
Ebun, tell me about your piece.
Yeah, so this was absolutely one of the most chaotic periods of time in my life. And I think I can say the same for so many people across the world. And it's very hard to deal with all this chaos. And I find that whenever there's issues going around, whenever there's so much commotion where you can't find your grounding, the best way to deal with that is through art and through music. And so when I was given this opportunity, I was very happy because not only was I able to create art for other people and to help ease the tension that this period of time has brought, but I was also able to, exude some of this built up tension and emotion that I had and express this through this piece called Reflections. And I called it Reflections because it was to reflect upon this crazy period of time and try to make sense of it. And what I imagined the piece being is somebody like sitting down and just like going over what happened. So it starts off kind of, or not like, I wouldn't say dissonant, but I wouldn't say consonant. It's like this kind of, I like to describe it as this void. And it's just, it's a very pensive environment. And it's just thinking about what has happened. It's like after all of this commotion and you finally have the chance to just sit down and breathe and think about what has happened this year, 2020 and 2021. And after you just sit down, you then start to go through the story. 2020, 2020 vision, all of these great expectations, high anticipation, all of a sudden shattered, like straight out new year. We have the coronavirus, we have, wildfires in Australia and the US. We have all of these natural disasters, political and social tension, and it's crazy. And so from that kind of anticipatory feeling, it now transfers into this complete dissonant chaos. And there's so much commotion, there's so much going on that when it finally ends, you just kind of have to like catch your breath and just figure out what can I pull from that and how can I move on from this situation? How can I use it to allow myself to grow in the future? How can I look at this and realize that this is a moment that, we're going to be looking upon this moment for history to come, history and history to come. And so I wanted to create this piece to be an emblem in history, to take this wretched moment, history and time, and turn it around for something, turn it around into something artistic and as an experience to learn from, rather than to solely mourn from.
So is there any smile in this piece at all, or is it all scary music to reflect the time that we've been running through?
Yeah, for the most part, it is, I guess, scary. But like that, I guess that short, fleeting moment of anticipation and excitement for the new year, the new decade, that is still expressed in, I would say, like the middle, near the beginning of the piece. But for the most part, yeah, it's kind of scary and sad.
although if I can add that it is also a beautiful and very lyrical piece. It's one of the more lyrical pieces in the entire collection of 25 works that I got. So, and I'm very excited to premiere it. And Ebun is a violinist herself, so she knows really well how to write for the instrument, and she's also the youngest composer of the 25. And but her music, you would never guess that from her music. It's beautiful and mature, and it's really awesome.
Hey, Bun, have you graduated from high school? I have no idea how old. You seem totally composed and together to me, like a seasoned professional.
Well, thank you. I'm a junior in high school, so I still have this year, next year to go before I graduate.
Wow, congratulations. How did the two of you work together on writing the piece? Did you ask Johnny, what do you think of this? Is this possible? Did you have any discussion?
So when I heard the news, I quickly started writing, quickly started pulling at ideas, and I did make sure to like send emails and think about like, what are you truly envisioning? I think the title captures it very well. This is America, just describing the state of confusion. Johnny Gandelsman, he was very open. I think like in terms of the project, he wanted to just have this vast, creative, diverse creation. And I tried to convey that as much as I could through the piece that I was writing. And I was able to send, a few excerpts and hear his response to it. And so it was a very, very great collaboration, all in all.
You two had worked together before, am I correct?
We have not. We met through this project, but actually it's interesting because right around the time that I asked Ebun if she would be interested in writing a piece for me. She was working on a project that needed some violin playing, and she asked me if I would participate in that, and that was really fun as well. So in that time that the piece was being written, we got to collaborate on a couple of different things, which was really cool.
And Ebun, did I see that you were involved in something called I Care If You Listen TV? That was new to me. I had not seen that before. What's that all about?
So I Care If You Listen, and I Care If You Listen TV. It's a great organization, and they make sure to like express like the lives and stories of different artists, and it's really great. They allow performances or specific projects to be highlighted, and I asked them if they were interested in highlighting this virtual concert that I created, in which Johnny Gandelsman was featured as a solo violinist, and they were very happy about it and included it on their website. Yeah.
I think that's why I thought that the two of you had worked together before, but you sort of crossed paths through I Care If You Listen TV. That's an interesting project. The American Composers Forum's involved in it?
No.
I think I
No.
saw there somehow they were connected to it or endorsed it, or I don't know. Johnny, how did you get involved in I Care If You Listen TV?
So that was just through Ebun, her work for the project, and she asked me to play her music, which was cool.
Wonderful. Hey, Ebun, tell me about your connection to the Syracuse Symphony, now called Symphoria.
Yeah, so I have been playing the violin ever since I could practically speak or like walk. I started at a very young age. When I became, right when I was about to become a teenager, like 11 or 12 years old, I wanted to grow more serious with my relationship with music. And so I decided to apply for the Symphoria Youth Orchestra program. And it has been a great experience to be a part of that, especially because there's not a lot of musical opportunities. And to be in an orchestra with so many talented musicians every week, it's really great. You get to, experience so much different repertoire, classical music. There's different opportunities that accompany it. And thankfully, fortunately, I was able to be accepted into this program, which allowed me to create a piece for the actual Symphoria Orchestra for the professional adult musicians, where I was able to premiere my full orchestra piece, Nova, which was really exciting because at that moment in time, COVID-19 had completely gotten rid of all of my other premieres for full orchestra. So to really hear my piece with all of these instruments, rather than just a simple chamber group, was really, really exciting.
Have you met Lawrence Lowe?
No, I do not believe so.
Isn't he still the music director of the Symphoria? Have you heard him conduct?
Um, oh, Larry Lowe.
Yes. Larry Lowe, I should have said.
Sorry.
Maestro Lowe. Look, Maestro's from Pittsburgh. That's why we know him here and love him dearly.
Great. Yeah, I do. So he conducted the piece actually, and so I worked with him on clarifying a few details and making sure that we were thinking the same way in terms of how it would be performed and enacted.
Do you think he did a good job?
Yes, I think he did a great job.
Give him our regards. He did a great amount of work with young people, but also with the Pittsburgh Symphony here in Pittsburgh and around the area. He's really a beloved figure here in the city of Pittsburgh. So what else is new in Syracuse? You got to tell me what else is in your life. What are you thinking about? What are you reading? What other passion do you have outside of music? It sounds like you are music, music, music all the time, but I'd like to know a little bit more about you.
So I would say, yeah, music takes up pretty much everything. I've tried to expand my horizon. First I was just a musician, instrumentalist, and then I wanted to go into composition. And so recently, about a year ago, I started conducting, which has been a very, very different and very incredibly intriguing deviation from your typical like writing music or just playing something. It's so weird. It's like composing music that you're not really supposed to compose. Like it's like a strict form of composition, even though composition is supposed to be very creative, yet conducting is very unrestricted and you can do so much with it. And it's very fascinating. So that's one thing I've been doing. I've also been trying to learn so many different kinds of instruments just for fun. I think it's to the point where it's gone extreme. I started learning the cello. Like I would, in my school orchestra, I would alternate each section, like every class. So I'd play in the violin section, then I'd play in the viola section, then I would play in the cello section, and then I would conduct. And so it's just, I'm trying to absorb the musical experience, not be confined to any category. In terms of non-musical things that I like to do, I do enjoy, so I do like to play tennis for fun. I also like to cook. Sometimes I like try to make something a little bit fancier, you know, for just to see what I can do, pull out this other artistic side rather than just music, but visuals and taste, of course, as well. But that was something that I really like to do. I also like to computer program and write poetry as well. So I do have a lot of other interests rather than just music. However, I feel like music makes me. I feel like it is a huge part of my identity, and it's completely inseparable. I don't know how I would be able to live my life without music at all.
I think you have a kindred spirit with Johnny Gandelsman. This guy, his dad teaches viola at Michigan State. His sister Natasha plays the violin. His mom is a pianist. You are music, music, music. Are you not, Johnny?
I mean, I guess, you know, since I was a kid, that was sort of what was happening in our house. So I kind of fell into it, you know. Um, I mean, these days, you know, there's a lot of music. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of email. There's a lot of all sorts of things that pull me away from actually playing an instrument. And I'm so, you know, I'm so impressed and a little bit envious of just how many interests you have, Ebun, and the fact that you get to all of them. I mean, how do you have the time? That is so cool. I do have two kids, so that takes up some time, and a dog that needs walking. Um, but you know, it's interesting to hear you talk about wanting to play or wanting to know how the other instruments work, right? The viola, cello, and conducting. I was sort of mostly, you know, just a violin guy, but this project has been sort of you know, stretching my comfort level with many things, and composers, the things that I'm asked to do. So I one of the works that I got is a song, and I had to sing it, and I'm no singer, as my family will attest to, but I had to sing, and I also picked up a tenor guitar to play this song on. So I'm, you know, trying to pick up new skills as I'm going along. It's a little bit harder when you're in your 40s than maybe when you're in your teens, but still trying not to be stuck in the, you know, stuck in the mud.
And Johnny, tell me about the groups that you belong to, your time with the Knights and the Silk Road Ensemble and Brooklyn Rider. These are
Sure.
all sorts of projects that are wide ranging, that step outside the norm. Brooklyn Rider recently recorded with an Irish fiddle connection in the album called The Butterfly, but Silk Road, the Knights, they do amazing things.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, music, what's great about music and being in music is that you know, the best thing about it is the community, right? It's the friendships that you develop and build, and all the different people that you can play with, and through playing you can learn from. Definitely the Knights and Silk Road have been groups that I've learned from a lot. I was a member of Silk Road from 2002 to 2020, so I had a chance to, learn about different musical traditions from around the world, learn about overcoming fear of the unknown and finding your way into something that is unfamiliar and feeling comfortable with it, and definitely made some lifelong friendships along the way. And same with the Knights. I played with them was the group for many years. The quartet that you mentioned, Brooklyn Rider, we all played in the Knights for many years. And but the quartet right now takes up most of my sort of official group playing time, and it's a great, we're sort of lifelong friends. We've done a lot of things together. We plan to do many more. It's a group for life.
And you have recorded a lot of Johann Sebastian Bach, the sonatas and the partitas, and more recently you did the cello suites on the violin, which doesn't happen all that often.
That is true. I worked on sonatas and partitas and on recording them and performing them for a few years. And when I finished that project, I didn't feel like I was quite done with the music of Johann Sebastian Bach. And I had this sort of suspicion that the cello suites would feel really nice on the violin. And while I was on tour in Australia, instead of sightseeing in Melbourne, I decided that I was going to lock myself in the practice room in the basement of the theater for a week and just learn the suite number 1 and suite number 2. And when that week was up, I knew that I was going to learn the rest. And that gave me, a great opportunity to learn music that I knew by ear for many years, right? So basically since I was a kid, but just to dive into it on the instrument and dive into scordatura playing was the 5th suite and tuning the top string down, and also was playing on a 5-string violin, which I use for the 6th suite, which of course was written for a 5-string instrument. And so I just knew that I wanted to do it on a 5-string violin. And so now I have this other instrument, and actually a few pieces on this project, This Is America, I'm playing on the 5-string. So just expanding a little bit my comfort level on that as well.
Wonderful. Well, we haven't talked about the other pieces on the program. There's no way that we can cover everything. Could you pick a couple of other highlights so that folks realize how wide-ranging your concert is going to be? You mentioned how amazing the contributions were, but you've got Rhiannon Giddens, and isn't Tyshawn Sorey one of the hottest composers out there today? I mean, there are all kinds of interesting things on your list.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyshawn is fabulous composer and the percussionist and thinker, and he wrote a beautiful piece which was premiered this past summer at the Vail Dance Festival, together with choreography by Jamar Roberts, who's a great dancer and choreographer, danced in Alvin Ailey for many years. And Rhiannon, Rhiannon Giddens is, she's, if you don't know who she is, all you need is to turn on the radio or read a magazine. She's an incredible force in the world of music. She's a singer. She is a violinist, and she's now the new artistic director of Silk Road. And her piece is really fun. It is one of the pieces I play on a 5-string violin, and it's called New to the Session. And in it, she sort of tries to capture the feeling of being at a session where people are playing folk music, and you just and all these tunes are coming at you pretty fast, and you try to repeat them and you try to learn them by heart, and as soon as you think you got it, it moves on to the next tune. And so it's just a collection of these awesome tunes, and it's a super fun piece to play.
Ebun, tell us why people should come to this concert, will you? I'll get you started because Ebun Oguntola's premiere is on the piece. It's very exciting to be part of a brand new piece of music. But this is America, a concert that reflects America. Johnny Gandelsman's an amazing player. Have I given all the reasons why people should come yet?
I mean, everything about it is just amazing. I mean, Johnny Gandelsman, of course, is such a great violinist. It's so great. And to have 20 composers, I mean, for one big project, I mean, that's first of all, lots of diversity, lots of opportunity to have great moments, and to take in everything that's been provided for you. And then on top of that, I mean, this is America. This isn't just any category. This isn't any topic. This is what we've all been built, like all the tension that's been building up. This is where you can finally just breathe and soak it in and learn and grow. And so that's why you should definitely tune in, watch this. I know for a fact this is going to be an amazing performance. Wonderful music is going to be played, and so much. There's just going to be so much there.
I'm only sorry that we won't be able to congratulate you in person, but you will be able to receive our karma, our applause somehow through the virtual transmission. But eventually we'll be able to get together in person. And in a way, with a virtual concert, you can pause it and think about it, maybe absorb it a little more closely with the relationship with the screen. There are some advantages to the virtual concert, don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can do it of course, you can be on your couch in your pajamas, but you can be listening, you can feel like you're there is what I'm hoping for, right? And the camera work is probably going to be great. You'll probably even see things that you may not see from in the concert hall. And yeah, as Ebun said, I mean, this project is an attempt to just broaden the conversation about what classical music is and can be, and who are the people who are participating in this field, which is so dear to me and to Ebun, and to so many people. There are 20 composers seems like a lot on one hand. It's about the whole project is about 4 hours of music, and the concert is not going to feature all of them. But if you think about it, how many people live here and how many people write music, this is just a drop in the bucket, right? It's a tiny, tiny subset of all the voices that are here, that are creating and deserve to be heard. And so on this program, there'll be, I think, 7 or 8 composers. I would venture to guess that many of them will be new to the audiences. And I hope you'll enjoy the journey of just discovering new voices and what they have to say.
Johnny Gandelsman, Ebun Oguntola, what a joy to speak with you both. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk it over. I look forward to seeing you virtually here in Pittsburgh, one way or another. And until we meet again, thanks.
Thanks so much, Jim.
Thank you, Ebun.
Thank you so much.